You're going to talk on a very important topic that many of us are grappling with, figuring out how to navigate absolutely unprecedented times. When you really spoke to us and you were speaking to Rao Saib on the topic of being connected and being engaged, my two pieces are in this whole lockdown era, we've really seen all of us, many of us, being connected almost 24/7. There's not a time when we're not really checking our emails, not responding to calls at 6 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. But the whole differentiation, and we'd love you to touch upon that, is how do you really move from being connected to being engaged? So while you are connected and boundaries have blurred, how do we really be engaged in this whole remote working space? How do you go beyond the virtual games or the virtual catch-up sessions or the virtual engagement sessions to really connect with people to understand how they feel, what they're going through, where do you draw boundaries, and how do you overcome barriers? So with this, as Krish mentioned earlier on, we're going to keep it very crisp. So the first 15, 20, 25 minutes is all over to Krish. And I request you, ladies and gentlemen, friends for today, to please keep all your questions ready because Krish loves the rapid fire. And as soon as he finishes, we'll quickly get into a rapid fire to get the best questions, the best ideas, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of co-creation, as we've chosen to be on this platform. 350 of us on a Sunday morning. We could have definitely done something else in our lives, but we've chosen to be here. So let's make the most of our time. Without further ado, on behalf of HRFI, Krish, all over to you.
Okay, thank you, and thank you all. Pleasure to really talk to all of you. Again, very good morning to you all. Okay, so I think Sahil gave a kind of a good background. And I think you guys have been at it for the last, 4 months now, almost 4.5 months. So by now you're all veterans about what is happening, in this kind of a virtual working. So I'm not sure if there's anything new I'm going to say. But what I'll try and see is that based on some of the learnings that are there, maybe share some ideas with you. Maybe we can try and see if we can build something around it. Yeah. So let's look at what is happening. What is the difference in the virtual thing, and what does it mean for individuals, and how can we really, as Sahil said, maybe we're all connected, we're all sending emails, we are on calls, but how do we go beyond that? I think that's the question. So let's look at certain things that is different from what is there. Yeah, in a kind of a virtual working, the difference is that they're all in different geographical places. You don't see the whole person, right? And when you're meeting face to face, you use various cues, your various kind of cues from others to really process about what you want to communicate. You look at their body language. Yeah, you look at how the person is. Suppose you're in a meeting with 10 people. You will look at the body language and say, okay, who's interested, who's not interested, who's kind of focused on something else. All that is clear from the body language. So therefore, that your brain uses that to see what to talk. The second thing you see is the facial expressions, of people. You look at their facial expressions, the smiles, etc., and do that. And in remote, some of it is not very obvious. There is some latency, but sometimes not, you don't see all the facial expressions. So therefore, you don't know what is the thing that sometimes people are saying. And the third cues that you use when we really look at emotions and talking to people is what words they say, the tone and the words they say. And that's the only thing we have, as we kind of look in this, really make sense of people. And therefore, when you really want to engage people remotely, I think we've got to keep this in mind, that I think people don't normally, of the three kind of cues that they take to make, to think about how they feel, how they don't feel, they don't have two of those. So how do you really increase the one that is there? So therefore, try and use as much as visual connect as possible. But more than that, try and verbalize a lot more. I think that's very, very important. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we've got to keep in mind. So just to summarize that, I'll try and give you in a simple way. I think my think of how, and I'm going to talk in two parts. First is I'm going to talk a little bit about what are some of the elements of great working, of remote working. Okay, how do we keep people engaged remotely? So maybe I'll talk about 5 points there, 3 C's and 2 T's. Yeah, so that's the first part. The second part I want to talk about, which is also a little deeper, is what are the factors that lead to resilience of people? Yeah, resilience, because they're all staying alone, they're working separately. What are some things that that we got to keep alive so that we can build into that and see how we can help them enhance their resilience. So I'll talk about that after that. So let's go to the first part. What are the 3 C's and 2 T's that I think are important for people to really work remotely and feel more engaged? I think Sahil mentioned we are all connected, but more than that, I think the one that really makes people engaged is clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of what they should do. I think what happens where people have great clarity, what is it? What are my objectives for this year? What are my short-term plans, long-term plans? Then I think they're very well engaged. If people are not really having clarity, then they start feeling a bit confused. So I think the first thing is, as leaders, wherever it is, providing much more clarity. Sometimes people know what they have to do, so that's fine. But in different projects where there are 3 or 4 teams working, where they've got to work on with each other, this lack of clarity creates a lot of confusion. Yeah. So therefore, I think the first step is, if at all you want to engage people, talk about the clarity. And to do this clarity of what they need to do, you got to talk a lot larger thing about what are the objectives of the function, what are the objectives, the purpose of the company, what do we want to achieve in this wrong. So talking a lot about our objectives, our goals, really helps people get greater clarity. Yeah? So I think that's the first step in engaging in these times. And these times are even more tougher because people are not sure. They won't know. Maybe my company is going through some tough times. What's going to happen? Maybe I don't know what's going to happen after 6 months. So these things are also there. What should be my priority? So therefore, focus a lot more on giving clarity about how we see the next 6 months, how we see the next year. What are the priorities now? What are the priorities for your team? What should we be doing? So that the person feels clear about it. The second thing that I think is very, very important as we talk about this is this whole thing of communication. And in communication, and I just mentioned the first thing, we have to verbalize a lot more because of the 3 cues that you take when you relate and communicate. You don't have the body language. You have a little bit of the facial expression, not all. So how do you really verbalize more? If you want to thank somebody earlier, a smile or a positive thing would have given them a stronger message. Now you don't have that. So you got to verbalize a lot more. So try and train and talk to people to communicate a lot more, to verbalize a lot more. So that's very important. And communication has to be continuous. You've got to keep on doing a lot more talking to people. And this communication is not only about work, talk to things about what's happening. Because one of the things that we all go through is we have other challenges also. We have issues at work, issues at home. Maybe there are, so maybe somebody at home is not well. Maybe we have to take care of somebody. Those are the things that come in the way of people. Like sometimes young bachelors, they're staying alone. They got to manage their food, etc., etc. How do they do that? Well, there are people with other issues at home. So I think communication, listening to them, talking to them about how they're spending the day, what are their challenges really helps. I think the third one is, the third C, I would say, is cadence. I think the best way to manage all of this is to have a great cadence of meetings or calls. You can say, listen, every week we'll spend 1 hour as a group. Every evening, why don't we spend 15 minutes or half an hour talking? So that kind of a thing puts people at ease. They know what is coming, they're ready, they're prepared, and therefore fix a time which is convenient to all. In one of our meetings earlier, some of the women said, listen, we got to manage children, their school, this, that. Don't keep any calls or meetings till 11 in the morning. After that, it'll be okay. So I think find the right time, find something, and therefore set a cadence of things that will really help people. So those are the 3 C's, that I spoke about. Now there are 2 T's that you got to keep in mind as we really do this. I think the first one is what I call as building transparency. And this transparency, because we're all working, if we were all physically working, things are clear. They know what others are doing, etc. Now they're not clear. So you got to be much more transparent about what are you doing, what are the other teams doing, etc. So, and much more transparent about what is happening. That really calms people down. So people are also a little bit nervous. So be much more transparent. And that's where all these collaboration tools come into place. your SharePoint or your Teams, putting documents there. Everybody knows what are the documents. Everybody knows what are the things, what are the trackers. So use those tools, but make things much more transparent. And the last T that's very important is building trust. I think, and this trust will only come because in these times, it will come through 2 or 3 things. One is you should do what you say. People believe you. So therefore you should kind of, stick to your commitments, do what you say. Number 2, you should trust them, because delegation and trusting, if you do second guessing, then people will feel, well, listen, somebody is going to check what am I doing. You've got to trust them completely. We believe you're doing a great work. We believe you're kind of stretching. That's about it. So they should see that this company and my boss and my leader is trusting me, and therefore they're giving me lots more to do. And that's very important. Delegate more. And therefore, this is the time to also give people more to do, delegate so that you don't keep on checking, So those kind of things will come in the way. So therefore, that I think will really help people ensure that they are much more engaged. So just to summarize, coming back, while we're all connected, while we're all on the phones, while you're all on the kind of emails, etc. But I think to really take the general connection to a deeper engagement, I think we've got to look at these things. Yeah, the 3 C's and 2 T's. I think just to repeat that again, I think the first C is start with clarity. And clarity about the business objectives, long-term, short-term priorities, what the team should do, what that person should do. That's very important. Number 2, communication. Yeah. And using communication, verbalizing a lot more time, talking to them formally, informally, and talking to them about their own families, etc. is very, very important. The third is have a cadence of meetings or whatever things you want to do. Set proper times and keep it clear so that people are all aware. And then the 2 T's, I think transparency, make things available. They all know what teams are doing. Everybody is clear, and make things much more transparent. And last one is trust. Trust them, ensure there is, you say what you do, you do what you say, and ensure there's lots more, delegation of work to them, not less of checking, so that they feel much more trusted. I think those are all, and the word that Daniel Pink calls is autonomy. Yeah? So I'm just taking that autonomy to an extent that, okay, give them what they're doing, but trust them a lot more in these times. So I think I would just leave these as the 5 key things to keep in mind.